When I play Dungeons & Dragons, I want my party to have an immersive experience where they feel like they are in the world that I've imagined. The best way for me to do this is by building the world in the real world so they can feel it and interact with it. Unfortunately, this is also the challenge. I need to be able to make a terrain piece that's good enough that it captures my party's attention and it puts them into the world. I've planned for ages a story of my party finding an old tower and having to work their way up to the top and overcome all sorts of magical challenges, riddles, and mysteries set by the evil wizard who lives there. At the top of the tower is when they have finally caught the evil wizard, and there must be a huge climactic battle where either the party defeats the cursed wizard, or they are cast over the walls to fall to their doom. With inspiration running high, it was time for me to get started. It was very important to me that the tower doesn't only look super cool, but is also practical for gaming. The tower is going to essentially be a large cylinder with details added to it. Because I wanted to have a playable interior, it must be hollow. I began by cutting a whole bunch of 20cm squares out of some 50mm XPS foam. This stuff is going to be the bread and butter of this project, as it is with most terrain projects. I love cutting this with my foam hot wire cutter. It's so satisfying and easy to get perfect cuts. With all my squares cut, I then drew a line connecting the corners of the squares. Where these two lines crossed was the center of the square. I attached this point to the peg on my circle cutter with my foam hot wire tool and then cut a circle. Then I would push the wire in a bit closer and cut a second circle out of the middle. This meant that I ended up with a large ring. This would make the outer wall of the tower. I repeated this process 10 times. Each layer wasn't tall enough to be one floor of the tower, so with 10 rings, I'll have 5 floors and then I'll put the roof on top. If you're curious about the exact wire cutter I'm using here, it is the cheapest possible one off eBay and it's pretty amazing. I made sure to keep the circles I cut out in the middle because they will be helpful later on. The tower needed to look like it was made from stone. To do this, I was going to carve it by hand. I cut a line down the middle of each ring, only going a few millimeters deep into the foam. I kept my knife still and I spun the ring with my hands. This was the easiest way to keep the cut consistent and as straight as possible. Then, of each of the halves of the ring, I cut that in the exact same way, leaving me with 3 lines evenly spaced across the ring. I went slowly and carefully here. Next up, I cut in lines for each of the bricks. I would routinely break off the end of my blade to get a nice, clean, sharp tip. If your blade isn't sharp enough, that can lead to tearing and damage your build. I got a bit worried that maybe the lines not being perfectly spaced and the bricks being slightly uneven could distract my party from the world that I was trying to build. But with a bit of thought, I realized that it helped give the tower more of a natural look, as it was created by masons who didn't have the luxury of fancy machines to help them out. With all these shallow cuts, I took a dull mechanical pencil and I ran it through each of the grooves. This slightly bevels the edges. Finally, to complete the stonework, I took a stone that I found in my garden and I rolled it over the whole piece. This adds heaps of tiny detailed texture, which really takes the tower to another level. Lots of people use a bowl of aluminium foil for texturing. I find that just a random rock really helps increase the randomness of the texture, making it a bit more realistic and less uniform. The interior of the tower is going to be a plaster finish, so I didn't need to cut any of the lines in. All I did was roll this stone over it to give it a nice uneven texture. Now, this may have been a little bit of a cop-out, but honestly carving the lines into the inside would have taken forever, and ultimately it doesn't make as much sense. I figured that in the medieval times they'd put plaster on the inside of their walls to make it a bit more homey. Each of these layers took me about 10 minutes, so after an hour and a half, the main building of the tower was completely textured. I decided the tower needed some windows to help make it a little bit more interesting. I cut a ring of foam that had an interior radius, which was the same as the main body of the tower, and cut rectangles from it. This way, the windows will match the curvature of the tower's body. All these windows were slightly different. This was intentional, as I thought breaking up the uniformity would be a great way to make the tower seem more interesting and magical. I cut the windows to a point. This was easier to do with a knife than with a wire cutter. I textured the windows in a similar way to how I textured the tower. I cut with the knife, beveled with the pencil, and rolled with the stone. I did this a whole bunch of times. To make a door, I used a miniature as reference and penciled in how wide the doorway should be. I cut this with the wire cutter. The top of the door would be arched, so I measured the top side based off the bottom side and I got cutting. This was pretty awkward. I did as best as I could with my knife, and because of the round shape, I couldn't do it with the wire cutter. I even had a shot at gouging it out with some rough sandpaper, but this really wasn't looking too good. I was worried that such a clear imperfection could break the immersion of my tower, but it inspired me to innovate. I cut another ring, this time only 5mm wider than the tower. I took this piece and I cut a half circle from it, and then another half circle from that. This left me with an arch that perfectly matches the curvature of the tower. This got textured and with a dab of hot glue secured to the tower. Now that arch is perfectly framed and looks super neat. If you are struggling to make clean curves on larger pieces, making them a frame like this really helps hide the roughness and makes your build look super neat. Here's the completed doorway. I think it's looking pretty nice. Using the interior circles that I had cut from the rings of the main body of the tower, I cut a thin layer that perfectly fits into each of the tower sections. I cut 5 of these, one for each level of the tower. I then cut one extra one and cut a bunch of wedges from it. This makes some stairs that will perfectly match the interior curve. Normally, I would have wanted each step to be in scale with the models, but I find that miniature stairs are always a drag to play on because models always slide down them. I compromised here and I made each step nice and big so a model's base would fit on it. This maybe doesn't look as good, but it's a heap more practical to play on. I textured each step by cutting a shallow wavy line, beveling it with a pencil, and rolling it with a rock. I glued these steps straight into the tower. So that the steps actually lead to the next level of the tower, I took the disc that I had cut earlier and cut a section out of them by attaching them to the circle cutter, pushing them in, rotating them, and then pushing them out. This worked great as a way to cut a section from a disc. The floor got the same texture treatment as the steps and got glued in. I glued the windows onto the tower backed with a bit of plain paper so that there's no texture seen through the windows. The next step was to decide on what to do with the top of the tower. The top of the tower was the most important. It's where the final showdown between the party and the evil wizard will take place. If any part of the tower needs to grab the attention of my adventurers, this is it. I thought about doing a tiled roof, but decided to have a crenelated top, just like a medieval castle tower. This way, it keeps the top of the tower opened. I imagine a magical storm raging with lightning cracks and wind buffeting the party and empowering their evil adversary. This could add some awesome narrative flair. I cut a nice big ring with progressively smaller rings inside it until it matched the size of the body of the tower. I also cut a large disc that would serve as the floor, the epic top layer. I crenulated both the top and bottom side of the largest ring. I made the crenulations by cutting my standard brick pattern in first, then cutting the foam from the top down. And then I went in and deepened the horizontal cut and pushed each piece out. This worked surprisingly well and made me confident that this was a fitting location for the final showdown. For the floor of the top layer, I measured it and I cut it out with an X-Acto blade so that the stairs would actually lead up to the top. I didn't do this with my wire cutter because I would have had to cut a big line through the disc. I went on and textured the rest of the ring the exact same way as the rest of the tower. I crenulated the bottom of each of the small rings and with a dab of hot glue held everything in place. We are now ready to start painting. The base coat was grey. I did this with a spray primer. Normally this would melt foam, but Jeremy from Blackmagic Craft taught me that if you hold your foam far enough away, it doesn't melt. This is crazy, I had no idea. Thanks Blackmagic Craft. After spraying, I selected a few bricks here and there and gave them a coat of light grey. I repeated this all over the tower with blue and brown. This is called undertoning. The difference seriously stands out now, but when we go through the next few steps, it becomes a lot more subtle. If you want to know more about painting good stonework like this, check out the guide from Zorpazorp. I got this technique from him. Then, I dry brushed the whole tower grey. This is such a transformative step. I also painted the interior cream and washed the whole entire thing with black paint mixed with a bit of water and a drip of soap. This adds so much depth and dimension to the building, it makes the stonework look really interesting. If I was to paint this again, I would use more blue in the undertoning and make it stand out a bit more because I love the magical, fantastical look it adds to the tower. The final step in painting was to paint the black behind each of the windows, and with that, the paint job was complete. The tower needs a suitable base that helps frame it and tell the story that the party is going through. I decided the tower would be on the edge of a cliff because, well, there's no more epic setting than the edge of a cliff. I cut two big rectangles and glued them together. I cut them down with a blade, and then with a belt sander to make them sloped. I cut it to be wavy around the sides with a wire cutter, where I was going to be building up the cliffs. Corkboard is my favourite method for making cliffs. I distress the cork by peeling the top layer off roughly with a knife, and hot glue it to the foam. The cork is great because it's flexible and can go around corners like this. It's also super lightweight and looks great. I drew a path leading up to the tower and textured it in the same way that you are very familiar with by now. Where the seam between the two pieces of foam was, I added a step into the path to make it seem intentional, and I also added a couple rocks. I imagined that the party would have been walking this path for hours and their characters were exhausted. It eventually led them to their destination, this great tower. I masked it with some tape and it was time to do earthworks. I mixed up a dry plaster mix and I used this to blend the cork cliffs together into the foam as well as covering the seams between them. I used my fingers for this. This stuff dries super fast, so there wasn't a heap of working time. I added some sand to the mix with a bit more water and used that to texture the ground. I spray out with my fingers once again. It begins to harden after just a few minutes, but when it's semi-hard, you can smooth it out really nicely. I peeled the tape off the path at this point, which was super satisfying and gave me a nice clean edge. After that was fully dry, I gave the earth a brown spray and the cliffs a spray with grey. I lightened the brown with a dry brush of a lighter brown and I highlighted the cliff with a dry brush of lighter grey. This might not have made the cliffs photo real, but I think it really fits into the fantasy style of the build and perfectly accents the tower. I really like how rich and saturated the brown is. You don't see those colours in real life, but this isn't supposed to be real life. I painted the path grey and I dry brushed it with a lighter grey. To add some grass, I roughly stippled on PVA glue in a natural pattern and poured over some mixed green flock. I did this in small sections so the glue would still be wet for each section. To make the ground a bit more interesting and to bring in some new colours, I added some flowers and some bushes. A vine was added going up the side of the tower using PVA glue and some clump foliage. This really helped integrate the tower into the base and bring some more colour onto the tower. I feel as if I had skipped this step, it would have felt like the tower was just tacked onto the base, but by having the element cross the base to the tower really brought them together. With that, the base was done. At this point I am so excited to show my party. But there's one more important step that I'm going to do first. I wanted the tower to be playable inside, and rather than having to take off the layers and stack them up, I wanted them to rotate out. Stay with me here to see what I mean. I put an aluminium pipe up the side of each layer of the tower. This wasn't particularly easy. To make it work, I sharpened the pipe on an angle grinder, and I pushed it through the side of each level of the tower, spinning the rod as I went. After each piece of the tower had a hole cut in it, I cut 50mm lengths of pipe using a fresh blade on my hacksaw, and I glued them into each hole. It took a bit of force to get them in there, so my handy rubber mallet made an appearance. I put an aluminium rod into the base, and the build was done. I'm able to stack the tower up around this aluminium rod, and the pipe that's through each piece makes sure it's nice and sturdy and that the build won't get damaged. This means that I can just rotate the levels that my players are up to at that point, and you can see the whole entire interior of the tower at once. This was a really awesome addition that my brother thought up, even though he's not at all into Dungeons and Dragons, so credit goes to him for this idea. In this tower, I added some furniture in. The furniture really made it seem lived in and really added so much detail. The bottom level was a storeroom, followed by a library, and then a crafting room filled with potions. Then it turned a bit more sinister with the sacrificial altar, and finally the wizard's bedroom, and then the top of the tower where the final showdown would be. This build was so much fun. Using some foam and a hot wire cutter, you can pull anything from your imagination into the real world so easily. This tower is the perfect example of that. Thank you for watching, and in the future you will get to see a video of me running a party through this tower, and you can experience their struggle as they fight to the top.